Hey guys, what's going on? Scott here, and welcome to the fight analysis series, which is basically where I record some fights and then talk about what I was thinking as the fights were happening. I tried doing this live and announcing my thoughts as I was doing it, but the game's a bit too fast-paced for that. I would be like, okay, I'm about to parry top, and then by the time I finished that sentence, I already got hit, and I found it was making me play a lot worse. So I think having these the commentary done after the actual fights makes it a lot easier, and I can play at my best as well. So it's definitely I think it'll benefit both parties. So that's how these videos are going to go. And I'm sorry about being a bit light on the YouTube scene. I've been going very hard on Twitch, hosting tournaments and things like that, so it's been a little tough to have all that content on my YouTube channel as well. But all right, first thing when you're fighting a Warden, really with any class, not even with Orochi, is guard right. Because if they're going to sprint at you, chances are they're going to start the running attack. Now, they have two options. When they do this, they can start with the running attack, or they can mix it up into a zone. You kind of just have to guess. If it's the first time you're fighting somebody, I mean, they're probably going to open up with a running attack. Eventually, they might switch up to a zone, though, so you got to be careful. But always block right. You can even parry it, too. It's not that hard to parry. I just went for the safer option just to block it. Sometimes it comes out at strange timings. So, against a Warden, I'm always kind of backing up and queuing up Storm Rush in case they zone attack. I'm trying to bait out a zone attack because I can heavily punish with Storm Rush. I'm noticing he's doing a lot of top lights too. I mean, he's Warden, so of course he's going to. And those are pretty easy parries because it doesn't appear to be feigning yet. And once he starts feigning, I'll be a bit less confident, but I know I can parry his top lights. So there's the first one. He's just sort of throwing them out there. And right there, I did a common Orochi mix-up. Basically, so what happens is when an Orochi hits two top lights, well, first of all, let's go over the actual parry. I follow parries up with two top lights. And the thing is, you can actually get a top heavy with Orochi too for 3 more damage. But it seems like the top heavy has a bit less tracking, and on some classes, they get pushed out of range, like Nabushi. I've even seen Lawbringer get pushed out of range. Shigoki's been pushed out of range, and the top heavy sometimes doesn't hit. I'd rather sacrifice the 3 damage and get an almost guaranteed follow-up. So I do the 2 top lights. Now, the top lights also have the quicker recovery, so you can chain it into something else. And the common thing that a lot of Orochis do is top light zone attack. It's very quick, and they have to choose between continuing to block top or just going back, and guarding right for the zone. So what I usually do is, well, I do a number of things. You don't want to do just one thing. That's a terrible idea. But a common mix-up I do is I will feint left where the zone attack comes from, and then carry it out into a regular attack. For some reason, he guard broke there, which is just a terrible choice. And here he swung twice in a row. Now, when a Warden swings from the side, if he hits, he gets a guaranteed second hit. So he pressed R1 twice here, but he missed the first one, and he queued up the second. So as soon as I saw him miss the first, I was waiting for the second one to appear, and I knew that was going to be a free parry. So that one comes out, and that's a free 2 top lights. And there, I did the feint again, but instead of going to top, I went back to zone attack. And, I mean, Orochi really only has 2 fast options, so you need to do all of your work with your top lights and your zone attacks. That's really all you have to work with. So you need to get really good with mixing up feints in those things. And the thing is, if someone wants to just simply block them and not parry them, Orochi's kind of screwed. Like, if you have a Warlord that doesn't parry and he just sits there and blocks, you can pretty much never damage him. You'll never hurt him. And that's a problem with For Honor itself. But, there I gravely miscalculated. I should have held that Storm Rush a little bit longer. And there I held it at the right time, and then the wall screwed me over. That Storm Rush I wouldn't have been able to finish. Sometimes it looks like you can get a Storm Rush off, but they can actually still block it. There we go with the feint left from the zone attack. Then it went top light, and then went back to zone attack. Usually when you're low stamina, they don't expect a zone. And that's because if you obviously use the zone attack, and you have low stamina, you'll be out. So people don't always expect you to go and exhaust your entire stamina pool. So sometimes doing like 2-3 zones in a row is actually a really good idea. Honestly, at that point, I was guarding left because I assumed he was going to try a mix-up with the zone attack at some point, but he just keeps doing regular running attacks, which I honestly should be parrying at this point. Like, I'm like, there's no way he's going to do it again, but he did it again, and that's just overestimating my opponent at this point. I assume he's going to mix it up, but I just actually don't think he's at that level yet. He's just doing really basic, just running attacks, and I'm falling for it because I assume he's going to mix it up, but I'm overthinking the thing. At this point, he's got really only a couple options, which is to go for quick top lights and maybe a zone attack. There's the zone. That does hit. I wasn't ready for it. I'm expecting the top lights. There, I did a left feint into a top heavy, and usually you go into a top light, but I assumed he was going to either try to block it or parry it or something like that, so I wanted my timing to be different. Also, my god, Uplay, can you just shut up? Close, thank you. God, pops up every second. Anytime anyone just enters a game. Sorry about those. Wait a minute, this is recorded. That's another good thing about having these recorded, is I can just skip ahead. But I just recorded like 5 in a row just so I don't like edit out losses or anything. That's what I did for all my Dark Souls videos too. I just hate when people edit out losses and make themselves look better than they actually are. So these are all always uncut. And there was actually an initial fight at the beginning here that I won as well. But it was against the same warden, and he did not do very well. So I didn't really feel the need to include that one. Next, we're going against a Peacekeeper, and they can be really hard to deal with as Orochi. You always have to be guarding right for the zone attack. Comes out insanely fast. But that's your default guard. So you see me going right and stancing between left and right over and over again, because I don't have permanent guard, and I have to keep it, constantly moving. Otherwise, it'll expire, and then I'll get hit. That top heavy was to screw up a parry, and it actually worked because you can see right here, he actually was trying to parry. God, this is hard. So you can see, so I hit those two, and if you look for the red indicator when I begin my heavy, you can see him begin an attack. It's very, very hard to see, but you can see right there, that's him trying to parry, because he thought a light was coming out. But I did a heavy, and most players don't just randomly throw out heavies like that, and it's a really uncommon thing that throws people off, and this screwed up his parry enough to do a giant chunk of damage, and the zone attack was enough to finish him. With Orochi, there's no point in, like, feinting top and then going for a right attack, because a right attack is so slow it doesn't even matter. You can only do top lights and zone attacks. Those are the only things you can surprise opponents with. So you need to do all of your feinting, all of your mix-ups need to be, involving those two attacks, and it sucks, but that's our side attacks are pitifully slow. So that's all I got to deal with. He opened with the lunge, and that's really uncommon. I probably could have parried it, but you don't expect Peacekeepers to do that. Very nice parry on my zone. He's going to get a double stab into the wall, into the forward lunge. That is an insane amount of damage. I back up a bit and try to get some space. I know the zone's coming, so I block right. There, I don't know what I did wrong there. I just simply screwed up. It doesn't happen often that you miss a guard break tech like that, but no one's perfect. Every once in a while you miss one. Great block on my zone. So he's already kind of on top of things. I go for a top heavy to try to break apart his parry attempt, but instead he just blocks it because he knows I'm feinting a lot, and he knows he's going to outspeed me anyway, so he doesn't really have to try to parry me. That zone parry was really, really nice, but he doesn't have to try to parry me. He can just block and then outspeed me, which is probably the safest bet. I was ready for a top lunge that time, but he obviously is not going to open with it twice because he's not stupid. Random heavy comes out, which is scary because I'm kind of scared to parry things now. It means that he's kind of throwing out different speed attacks. I honestly don't know what happened there. That was kind of weird. Let me see that again. So he does a top heavy. Then he does zone. Then he does a guard break. But I was already guard breaking, I think? That was kind of bizarre. It's like he got recoiled even though I just started my guard break. I don't know. Weird. The fact that I didn't guard right there was my fault. I mean, you need to always be default guarding right. That's why I'm taking so many hits. It's because I'm not guarding right. The zone attack comes out faster than human beings can react. With the flicker bug, anyway. So, right there, he hits a parry. And the thing is, he hits the parry because I just do a naked top light. No feinting, nothing. So now I know I have to feint against him, or at least do top heavies to throw off his timing, and that's what I do. Then I feint left, and I bait out another parry because I can tell this guy actually knows how to parry pretty well. And that is what gets him. And that's the thing. If you're fighting Orochi and you don't want to lose, and you just turtle up, there's nothing an Orochi can do. He has no way to open up defenses. But if you try to parry him, then he can actually do a little bit of mixing up. And that's the only time the Orochi can actually win against, like the top classes, is if they try to parry you and you mix them up. If they just simply want to turtle and play it safe, Orochi can't do a damn thing. And it's unfortunate, but that's what we got. So after the top, he knows his own attack's coming because that is the go-to Orochi finisher. But instead of just doing a zone attack, I feint from the same direction that the zone attack comes from. You can see his red indicator pop up right here, and that means he's trying to parry it, but then I feinted it into a actual zone attack, so his timing was just a little off. And that is the That's really it. That's the core concept of Orochi gameplay, is just slightly throwing off timing so they screw up, and then you lay big damage on. Because their punishes are insanely high damage, but actually getting your two directions to actually come out and hit an opponent are very, very hard to do. And so you need to get creative with feinting, and you need to play a lot of mind games. He opens with a lunge again, which I'm just surprised that most Peacekeepers do not do that. Especially with the name Peacekeeper God, you don't expect it. So after you block the zone, you do get almost a free parry, because most Peacekeepers will follow it up with another attack. And that one comes out way slower. So you've already guarded right, and then the parry comes out on the left. Followed up with the top light. There I go again, baiting out the parry. Did the exact same thing, because I knew he was going to try to... This guy knows how to parry the zone attack. He knows the timing of it. So after I hit the 2, feint left, he thinks the zone attack's coming. He parries early. Then I go back into some more top lights for a bunch of damage. Then I actually zone attack afterwards. And I'm out of stamina, but I'm just going to stay right in his face. I'm not going to risk backing up, getting vacuum guard broken. Peacekeeper doesn't have much to open up on defenses either, other than extremely fast attacks. Same exact thing. Block the zone, do the follow-up. That is a relatively safe thing to do. It only works if the Peacekeeper follows up their zone attack with another light attack. But if you block that zone, be prepared for an attack from a different direction, and that one is fairly easy to parry. And you should be you should be ready to go on that one. Searching for the next one. Oh my goodness. It's a Peacekeeper again. So we're going to do the same thing. Keep guard right. And a thing that Peacekeepers do sometimes is throw out a whiff and then go into another attack. And again, like exactly like that. When Peacekeepers do that, you can actually punish them with a Storm Rush if they're not feinting the second one. And that is a really risky thing to do, because they might actually be feinting the second one and then they'll just parry your Storm Rush. But other than that, if they're one of the Peacekeepers that intentionally whiff so they can follow up with faster attacks, you can actually punish them with Storm Rush. It does actually work, but you need to be careful and make sure they're not going to feint it, because if they do, you will get parried instead, and it can be a messy situation. All right, I'm pretty sure this Peacekeeper just completely gave up. Yeah, it was not even close. Let's go to a better one. This guy was actually really good. So first thing, you can't say. Now, Kensei has the same problems with Orochi. It's basically top lights, and he's doing the same thing I am. He's feinting top lights into feinting top heavies into regular top lights. Because what else can he do? What other opening does he have? He doesn't really have anything else. So this is just going to be a top light match. But this is a great example of how to do mind games and how to trick up the opponent. He gets me with a great grab there for a bunch of damage. Blows the stamina, but his defense is really good. I can't do much to break through. He's not going to try to parry with no stamina. There I grossly screwed up my range there, and he punished it really well. So I held my Storm Rush, thinking I'd be just out of range to punish, but he lurched forward a bit too much. And here I go for the parry, but he feints it. I'm already parrying. He did the same thing I did the Peacekeeper. He feints it, and then I go for parry, but then he feints it and goes into a top light, which is obviously faster than my heavy, and he gets the first round on me. So now I know this guy is going to be feinting top. So that means parrying him is going to be a bit more risky. You can actually cancel you can feint your initial parry and then still parry the follow-up if you're very quick. So that can happen. But it's, I got to be careful for that. So I can't just throw out parries. I threw it a top heavy there because this guy knows how to parry as well. There he goes for a guard break, and he gets some top lights. He's feinting so much that I'm really scared to parry him, because it's a fairly big punish. He feinted a bit too much there and blew his stamina. So, I mean, he's out of stamina, but, I mean, I can't do much to stop him from regenning. Now we're just feinting top lights. He gets a perfect deflect on me. Guard break into unblockable. Tries his zone attack. I try to parry the zone attack second part, but the second part actually just simply missed me, so I ended up just doing a regular side heavy. It was an accident. I meant to parry the second part because it looks like he didn't cancel it. So, I mean, both ways I would have gotten a parry into a heavy anyway. So it still worked out, but I thought that was kind of funny that instead of actually doing the parry, I just let a random side heavy go off. So against this guy, he knows how to block. He knows how to block my zone. He knows how to block my top light. So my options are to just try to swing before him or maybe parry him. And that's about it. Gets another perfect deflect on me. It's an unattackable guard break. Nice feint, but unfortunately, Orochi can swing. That's one thing to know about fighting Kensei, especially if you're like Warden or Orochi. If you get in this scenario where you're hit and he begins an unblockable, a lot of people do this thing where they kind of just panic and like they try to go for a parry, and then the Kensei plays into this and then feints and then grabs them while they're fainting, and that's untechable. If you're Orochi or Peacekeeper or Warden or anyone with a quick attack, just hit him in the face. You'll hit him before they'll be able to finish anything. It kind of negates all of Kensei's combos. Now, that's not foolproof because he can feint into a parry. So you need to, this again, it's another example of mind games that you have to do with when you have very limited tools. You have to work with what you got and do something like that. It's a great parry on me because I didn't feint, and he's very quick on the reaction time. So I can't just throw out random top lights like that. I need to be feinting too. I did a random side heavy there because I knew he was going to try to parry it, because who the hell just does a random side heavy like that? He's just expecting the tops. There I did a side heavy into a zone attack from the same direction to perhaps bait out a parry, but he's simply blocking now. He's not even risking the parries. And as Orochi, there's nothing I can do. If he wants to block all day, okay, there's nothing I can do. So there I noticed he's trying to deflect a lot. And what I did here, because I don't know if you guys know, but Kensei gets to deflect, and if he guards into you, or if he dodges into you, and he's he's deflecting a top attack, he will be able to get an untechable guard break on me because he's blocking while he's dodging, basically. So knowing that, he's trying to dodge into me to get the deflect. So what I do is, won't get guard break. It's not the right clip. What I do is feint to get him to try to dodge into me. But then, while he's trying to deflect, I feint it into a guard break, and that is going to be untechable because he's in the middle of a dodge, and then I get a free heavy. So we're working off each other here. Here I get a free guard break because he did a side heavy, which is not a very good idea. I'm sorry, a side dodge attack. Tries a random side heavy there, but doesn't work. I'm just throwing out random heavies now to screw up his parry timing, make him less confident in trying it. He just feinted, so I assume a regular heavy's going to come out, but instead he goes for a guard break. I'm sorry, a regular light. Usually people are not going to do the same feint twice in a row. Like they might do a feint and then followed immediately up by another attack, or they might do a feint and then switch different directions. But then after they do that, they might just do a regular attack again. So they usually don't repeat the same thing. I actually got the same guy twice in a row, but he was a really good opponent. So there's a lot to be learned from mind games in these fights. When you have heroes that have like no options offensively, you rely solely on mind games, and that's why I think this is actually still kind of decent to watch. It's just top lights and zones, that's all it is, but it's both of us playing off of each other. Pretty much the only way he has to open me up are just top lights and guard breaks, but I'm not really going to get hit by any guard breaks unless he deflects into me, and when he deflects into me, I can, deal with that. He's not even falling for my zone feint. He just doesn't care. But yeah, this is it. It's just top lights and zones, and us trying to, make the other person screw up, because that's all we can do. I haven't even tried Storm Rush against Kensei. Storm Rush against Kensei is just a terrible idea. He can hit you way before it even gets to him. There I tried baiting out a parry, but I didn't follow up the swing. I wasn't feeling good on it. There we go. And he tried to parry that one, and we hit him with 2 top lights. So, I mean, that's seriously all these matches are. It's kind of silly. But it's basically us just trying to bait out parries, and if the other one doesn't actually get the parry, then they get punished, and that's about it. That's the depth of these sites. But it's not like it's not deep. It's actually, there's a lot of mind games going on here. There I get a completely accidental deflect. I didn't even follow it up. I was just simply dodging into him at the time. But I only would have been 25 damage anyway. That guard break was very strange that I missed. I was almost touching him, and it did not hit. He's hitting me with a lot of top lights, and that's really bad because I'm not guarding top for some reason. That's the only angle he can hit me, without me being able to react in time. And I'm just letting him do it, which is really stupid. Sometimes you change your guard intentionally to bait out a top attack to parry it. But, there he did, Kensei does this thing where he'll back up and intentionally, if you ever see a Kensei swing while he's backing up, it means he's trying to initiate a combo. So if you ever see that while he's swinging and backing up, that means he's going to be following it up with something else. It's either going to be another heavy or a light, or a feint or something. He's going to follow it up with something. There's no reason to just simply whiff attacks out in the middle of nowhere. He's trying to get to his unlockable. So knowing that, I knew he was going to follow it up with something, so I just threw out a side heavy, and he was in the middle of trying to initiate some combo, so takes 30 damage from that. He tries to side dodge my my Storm Rush, but obviously I'm going to feint it because he almost never finishes Storm Rush, and if I block his side dodge attack, I get a free untechable guard break on him. Very risky using Storm Rush. We trade again. I only need one more. I do it again and again. And the thing is, you don't expect 3 zone attacks in a row because, 2 zone attacks and you're out of stamina. But if you do a zone attack, wait a little, wait 2 seconds just to get enough stamina again. Then you can zone and then zone again. And most people don't expect 3 in a row. So doing silly things like that actually does work. But it's very risky because then you can get punished for it. He pretty much never finishes those sides because why would he? I would just parry it. And that's really it, just down to Kensei being Kensei. So attack outspeeds his top light, but just barely. I feel like I want to get a parry on him. But just as I say that, then he does a random heavy and screws me up. Which is smart. So yeah, this guy's not easy to parry. He's feinting a bit too much. So I'm just playing it safe and going for the outspeeds. Because I have more outspeedy attacks than he does. He's only got a top light. I have my top light and my zone. So I have double the options as him. There he goes for a regular non-fainted, and I just go for the parry and actually hit that one. That was kind of down to luck to him just not fainting that time. It was risky, but it paid off. And I really got to stop storm rushing against a Kensei. It's a stupid idea. Every time I'm getting close, he can just hit me in the face. There he throws out another naked one, and I get a parry again. And he does not fall for the feint. And here I go for the king of YOLO strats. And it is something that really does work, even on the best players. So what happens here is... Alright, so I feint, I'm out of stamina, right? Now, what do you do when someone's out of stamina? You probably expect them to start backdashing to regen, so a common thing is to go for a guard break, catch them in their backdash. However, you can guess that they're going to try that, and instead just throw out a YOLO attack. And then if they try that, or if they try parrying it like he did, you can see right at the end here he tries to parry it. His sword goes up, but he mistimes it. And he mistimes it because it's so slow that his timing is off. So throwing out an out-of-stamina attack actually is a smart idea sometimes. It's a bit of a YOLO strat, but it does work. Whether you're trying to trade with a guard break or to screw up their parry timings. And if they know it's coming and they wait for it, well, you're going to be on the ground and you're going to take a bunch of damage. So it's very risky, and it works sometimes, and it's really funny when it does work. But yeah, you got to understand you're taking a huge risk when you do it. But that is it for the first session. We'll do about, 30-minute videos, and then probably condense it down to 20. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope to continue doing more of these. And I still stream every day, so it's hard to fit in time to do YouTube on top of that. But I will definitely try, and hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy, and see you next time.